Hello everybody, I'm Jillian Baker, and today I'm going to talk about one of the most infamous events in early history, the Salem witch trials. These trials, which took place in 1692 in Salem, Massachusetts, saw more than 200 people accused of practicing witchcraft, and 20 people were executed as a result. The events reflect the intense fear, superstition, and the social tensions that existed in Puritan New England. Let's dive into what caused this tragic series of events, who was involved, and the impact it had on American society. The causes of the Salem witch trials were complex and rooted in the society of the time. The Puritans of Salem lived with strict religious beliefs and a constant fear of the devil's influence. They believed that misfortune or illness might be signs of the devil at work. Added to this were tensions from recent smallpox outbreaks, land disputes, and the traumatic memories of conflicts with indigenous tribes. These tensions created an environment where suspicion and paranoia could easily spread, especially against those who were considered different or challenging to the community's norms. Now for the accusations and trials. The accusations began in early 1692 when young girls in Salem, including Elizabeth Parris and Abigail Williams, started having strange fits and claimed they were being attacked by invisible forces. They accused 3 women, including Tituba, a slave in the Parris household, of practicing witchcraft. Under pressure, Tituba confessed, saying there were more witches in Salem. This confession fueled mass hysteria, and soon accusations spread through the community, with people blaming neighbors, family members, and even respected community figures. The Salem trials were chaotic and heavily biased. Spectral evidence, testimony that the spirit or specter of a person was seen doing harm, was allowed as valid evidence in court, even though it was impossible to prove. Many of those accused had little chance to defend themselves. Out of over 200 accused, 200 people were executed, mostly by hanging, and one man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death with heavy stones for refusing to enter a plea. These trials were a terrifying example of the breakdown of justice in a society ruled by fear. After the trials ended, the people of Salem and the rest of Massachusetts were left with guilt and regret. Many began to realize that innocent people had been wrongly accused and executed. In 1697, the Massachusetts General Court declared a day of fasting and reflection, and in 1702, the trials were deemed unlawful. A few years later, the families of some victims were granted compensation. These tragic events would later serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of mass hysteria, unjust legal practices, and the consequences of religious extremism. Salem witch trials left a lasting impact on American culture and legal history. The trials are a reminder of how fear and prejudice can distort justice and lead to innocent people suffering. Today, the trials are studied as an example of the consequences of mass hysteria and intolerance. They remind us to protect fairness, reason, and justice in times of fear. Salem itself has become a symbol, attracting thousands of visitors every year who come to learn about the trials and reflect on their legacy. In conclusion, the Salem witch trials were a dark period in American history. They reveal how fear and suspicion can spiral out of control with tragic results. The lessons from Salem urge us to be cautious about allowing fear to drive our actions and remind us to uphold justice, even in difficult times. Thank you for listening. The research process helped me understand my topic more because it gave me new information and helped me understand the importance of remembering the Salem witch trials, so we never let that happen again. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to comment.